All right, I'm alive. Good evening,
Here we
everybody.
go.
Sam, we're talking about should I stay or should I go? What to do before the Christmas period. Stay tuned. All right, good evening, gents.
Let's get it.
Good evening, young guns.
Young guns and the oldie in the middle.
I know.
Look, we're talking about the next couple of months, what's going on. Should I stay or should I go with rentals, sales, everything in between? Christmas is fastly approaching, and we had a good little convo today, Mark. If you're going to be in a new house before Christmas, is now too early or is now actually the perfect time?
To live your best life. Everyone's making the moves. They're moving here. They're moving there. But the clock's ticking for 2021.
Yeah. We're talking with planning weeks ahead. From a rentals perspective, if you're looking to be in a new luxury pad between now and Christmas, you've actually got about 8 weeks to do so. You need to be planning at least 3 weeks in advance to cover your lease period, sort of minimum. Then you've got your week's move. That's pretty standard. And so now's a good time.
Yeah, just to add on that as well, Billy. Now is a good time to secure your spot before those summer starts warming up. Market starts warming up as well. So now's if you do it now, you'll get mid-November. So just before summer, and get to secure your spot.
Yeah. From a sales perspective.
So let's run through the numbers, guys and girls. If you don't know this, you've got normally you've got a 6-week settlement on your sales property, and on a rental property, normally you want to get it about 3 weeks before. So how many weeks to Christmas?
What have we got now? We're in.
What do we?
You tell us.
I reckon we've got about 12, if I had to guess.
3, yeah, give or take.
We've got about 12. So, as a motivated purchaser, you can buy something today on a normal 6-week settlement. Normal 6-week settlement's going to land you into, November-ish, to be in there, week to set up, and then you're in. But for a rental, you've got a bit more of a lead time. What would that be?
Yeah, I think...
so you go, Billy.
Go on.
I'll go. So normally you've got around that 6 to 8 week period. It does vary though, depending if you're already in a fixed lease, giving that 3 weeks notice, giving that 2 weeks notice, sorry. If you're on periodic, you'd give it the 3 weeks. So you do have that leeway, as Mark was saying, in regards to finding a new property and trying to secure something.
Yeah. But as we approach Christmas, we're coming into summer, the warmer months. For rentals, we see a little bit of a seasonal change, which is exciting. It's things are certainly starting to pick up. I think as we see restrictions ease, we're actually starting to see open home numbers or private for inspection numbers, pick up, which is really exciting. More groups through, obviously all COVID compliant for the moment. But when we finally get the green light to get back to normal pre this lockdown, I think prices are going to start to turn up a little bit. And as Mark said, you don't want to be rushing into a new place if you're looking this side of Christmas. You want to make sure you've done it properly. It's exciting.
So, guys, with rentals, so you guys are both doing rentals actively. With activity, I do have to say to people that are out there, I think it's a good time to nail a property in winter. In spring, I think you are paying a premium in summer. So being the northern beaches where we are, more people come and will be more inclined to paying a premium in the summer period. So when you get into your December, January, February, you will be paying more for your rental. So to set up your better life in rentals now is clever. Guys, you don't like to do 12-month leases in winter. Do you want to explain why?
Yeah, we talked about it, shaping your lease term. It's a big one for all of our landlords out there. If you're looking at your ideal lease, you want to be, if you're coming back onto the market, you want to be doing it in summertime, the warmer periods. Just generally, it's better received, and you do maximize that weekly rental return. In winter, sometimes it proves a little bit harder, especially where we are on the beautiful northern beaches. For anyone that's looking outside of Sydney, the sun blazing on your big balcony, outdoor entertainment space, all of those many selling factors, it does favour you. So shaping those lease terms to look in your best interest, making sure you're lining up for that next summer ahead as well. So yeah, your 12 months is not ideal right now. You probably want to be looking closer to your 14 sort of months there.
So if you're a landlord and you're renting your property out today, guys and girls, you probably want to. A 12-month lease is going to pop you back into spring with your tenant. So if you're a landlord, you probably want to ask more so for something that's a little bit more that's going to push you into December. So our advice today to the landlords is to do a 14, 15, 13-month lease, which means when your property becomes vacant or potentially vacant, that you're going to it's going to be a sexy period that you're coming into. Now, you guys see stock levels change from summer to winter. How do you see that, or from winter to summer?
Yeah. In regards to stock levels, in regards to rentals on the beaches, winter there is more stock. In summer, obviously, there's less because more people are active in the market. Therefore, it is a bit harder to be securing those beachside properties and things like that. And people will be paying that premium price for them as well. So summer stock level, there is less, but it's more active.
All right. So then I guess the message to tenants, we've had a message out to landlords. Our message to tenants is you're going to have better selection now to position yourself in for summer. So anyone who's looking to take a rental now, don't wait. Don't leave it to December. Jump on it now. You're going to have a lot more selection. You're probably going to rent it for a little bit less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
How does that change with sales, lads? Is my arena more than yours? What do you reckon? Have a guess.
Well, everyone wants to be in the new home for Christmas. Obviously, that's ideal. So setting yourself up now ahead of that time is paramount to having it run smoothly.
Yeah.
I think in a way that's probably of course it's in your favor to do it earlier than later if that's the dream. But you probably are looking at paying sort of not the convenience of that, but in a way, you're probably looking at competing with a lot of other people with the same mindset.
Yeah. So, look, I reckon the message to buyers out there is there's going to be a lot of stock hitting the market. Certainly, you know what I really love is talking to auctioneers and talking to photographers, because our auctioneers are doing auctions for 50 different real estate agencies. And also photographers are doing photography for 20 or 30 different agencies. Now, I've been speaking with Vic LaRusso, auctioneer, does a bucket load of auctions on the northern beaches. Rob Lowry does a bucket load of photographies on the northern beaches. Guess what they're saying?
More stock, more buyers?
Heaps. They are saying that they are doing the highest level of photography. And you see, Vic's interesting because when Vic books an auction, he will book an auction campaign for 2 weeks' time. that will start and that will finish in 4 weeks after that, 6 weeks from now. So he's almost got that vision ahead of how much stock is going to come on the market in the next 2 months ahead. What he's saying is there is a bucket load of stock that's coming onto the market over the next 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks ahead, which means it's going to be better selection for buyers because so much more stock's coming on.
Yeah. I think that's awesome as well because we've seen such a shortage over the last three months or so.
Massive shortage.
Yeah. Just
now, what was that?
I was just going to say with COVID as well, how do you think COVID will further affect that, seeing as we're starting to get out of lockdown? You know, what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's going to put acid on it because if, as I was just saying, if you're a buyer, I think it's good times. There's more selection of stock coming on the market, according to the auctioneers out there, the photographers of property out there, and real estate agents. Now, if you're a seller, this is really interesting. I would beat the rush. If you're a seller at the moment and you're considering selling, I would be talking to your real estate agent right now. I would be hitting the market right now. I would not be hitting the market in 4 or 8 weeks' time. So clients that I've been talking with, guys that are selling at the moment, my advice to those guys is get your property on before all the properties come on. And I always call it being in a seller's position or a buyer position. You can't put yourself in a buying position, most people, until they put themselves in a strong selling position, i.e. offer accepted and sold. Once you put yourself into a seller's position, you found a buyer, you got a great price, you know how much money you got to spend, you sold, then you're ready to pounce. So my advice to sellers out there is get on the market right away, get a great offer from some parties, some buyers out there, and then get ready for the plethora of stock to hit the market. Last week on the Northern Beaches, we had 420 properties on the market. This week, we got 480, 490 properties on the market. So there's almost 10% more properties just in a week. Imagine if that keeps happening. To go over to your question, Sam, or what you asked about COVID, I think it's going to amplify it already. We've been talking about summer, winter, as in lots of stock, not as much stock. But when you put that COVID combination there, great bloody question. I think a lot of people have been holding their breath. You don't want to sell your biggest asset in such hard, damning times that we've had. You can't even do an open house publicly or an auction publicly. You've got to do a Zoom auction. I think that right now is just a beautiful window to get a cracker of a price in the next couple of weeks.
Well, in a way, you miss the mark the longer you leave it, because then you're setting yourself up for the next seasonal change or the next ideal buying period, if you could even call it that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing we were talking about is, as seasonally as we adjust, is the sort of the corporate culture behind the way demographic is changing on the beaches here where we are. More and more people working from home. I mean, we keep on saying the same thing over and over again, but the changes we're seeing are so huge. The corporate culture, people going into the office only twice a week now. What's the point in paying either double the rent, maybe in the eastern suburbs where you were closer to the city but no longer need that anymore? Why not move to the Northern Beaches, pay half the price, double the beaches, or move, from out of Sydney and come somewhere more, for more of a lifestyle change.
Exactly.
It's living your best life. It's living your best life. And people have had that inhibition. You're right.
And I feel like you're also going to start to see the early adopters come into the market now. They've been seeing the market the past couple of months, not sure if they should make that change. It's going to start coming to summer and they're going to be more willing to, go with that other property, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I've certainly seen that in my open homes.
What was that?
I've certainly seen the out of Sydney interest from from my private inspections and virtual open homes.
So, guys, with the people that you're reaching to at the moment, so as an agency, we're the hot one, or the highest volume rental agency on the Northern Beaches. So we can do 60, 70 leases in a month. That's 60, 70 people moving into properties a month. We've got a massive exposure to the rental market. Where's everyone coming from? So I know today we're talking about, should you go or should you stay? The people that are deciding to come to the beaches for rentals, where are they from, guys?
Well, funny enough, I've actually had a nice couple from Bondi looking to move in together. They were previously paying for a bedroom, not one bedroom apartment, just the room, sitting at like $300 a week, whatever it was, right in Bondi. Thought, let's move in together, and they're paying slightly more over here, but they've got the full one bedroom apartment now.
So we're seeing 100 new tenants. That's what we would say. On a weekend, we would see about 150. Or just say the course of a week, we would see probably 200 inquiries, 250 inquiries in the rental market of people wanting to rent something. They're coming from Bondi, you say? Where else? Are they local or mostly local? Like if you had to split it up in a proportion, how would you split that up?
I'd give it 60% local, and they're changing from a suburb to a suburb. Largely impacted on price, in my opinion. A lot of people are still looking at dollars and cents. If they're local, they already know what the lifestyle is over here, so they're not worried about moving from DY to Coleroy, because they know realistically things are not going to be hugely drastic in terms of lifestyle. Same friends, same family, better location, potentially, you could argue, things like that. You've then got 20% coming from, I would say, east and sort of that side of the bridge, and then the other side coming from out west for a lifestyle change.
I'm also seeing a lot of people coming from around Mosman and close to those city areas, seeing as now they're not in the office as much. They're willing to come to DY and the beaches for that lifestyle.
Yeah, you got to remember as well, the initial lockdown last year, we were competing with a lot of people coming back from overseas. So we were sending out huge number of virtual inspections to people in hotel quarantine. This time I found it's nowhere near at all, if any. This time it's all people moving from one side of Sydney to the other.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Now we're going to have, a bit of a change because there'll be plenty more international people moving back as well once things are reopened, which is obviously going to impact the whole market.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a question for young Billy, Billy the Kid, Super Billy. You're pretty exposed to, at the moment, the sales market because you're actively looking out there as a buyer. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a property around the 500,000 to 700,000 mark that you want to sell, Billy will buy your property. Help Billy out. This is a pledge. This is a call for you. My question is, how are you finding it out there? Because you're on the cold face as a purchaser. Stock is low. I know we have a couple of conversations a week about what about this property, what about that property. How are you finding it? Because in that price range, I think a lot of parents watching, a lot of first-time buyers watching, the struggle is real. You are going through that struggle. You are part of should I stay or should I go? You want to go. Tell us about it.
It's intimidating. It really is. When you look in your price range, and we're talking $200,000 mark. I mean, that's a huge amount of money from this is what I can this is what the minimum that I'm willing to put forward, and here's where I can absolutely go no more. We're talking 200 Gs, and you open your bracket up, 200 Gs, and one property comes back, just one. And you go and have a look at the property on the weekend and you think, this is small. This is scary. And so let's just say it leaves you in tears. Tears for the oldie.
And it seems it seems, mate, whenever you're looking at a property, it seems like that price range that you're in, it seems like the challenging thing is the meterage squared. Once you're under 50 metres squared or 40 metres squared, it sort of does your brain in as a purchaser, yeah?
Yeah, it's interesting because from a lending point of view, this obviously it makes sense. The smaller you go, the more difficult it will become. But it really works in brackets. So for anyone that's not quite at the stage of looking, you'll be unpleasantly surprised when you do start looking that under 30 square meters is one thing, under 40 square meters is another, under 50 is sort of another, and it works in brackets. You're really looking for something around the 50 in an ideal world. Anything under 40 and 30 makes it difficult, but that's sort of where your price range is sitting. And so then you've got to think in terms of resale value on top of that as well. You're the buyer now that either can't afford it or won't get lending on it. So how big can you go?
And you're on the sidelines, Sam, watching Billy look for a property. He's worked hard, he's saved his deposit, he's talking to the broker. What do you reckon about all this first-time buyer purchasing?
Yeah, I reckon it's good. I feel like, try and get it in now before it's too late. That's probably the biggest thing, because you don't regret not capitalising where you can. But I'm interested to see how it goes with Billy. But yeah.
Like guinea pigs.
Any tips?
Any tips?
It's hardcore. So, Bill, you're gonna be borrowing about, if you don't mind me saying, you'll be borrowing a good 90% of your loan to get in there. Any advice you can give to first home buyers from not only as a real estate agent but as a buyer yourself looking in the market?
I would like money is one thing, but I think advice and surrounding yourself with people that you trust and can back you in moments where you're uncertain is huge. That's probably more important than anything else, because the money side of things, they will come, it will sort itself out. But to get into something that you're not comfortable with or unsure about or haven't asked the question, it's only going to create problems down the line, even once you have purchased. So talking to like yourself, Mark, parents, obviously, broker, all these different people around you, make sure you've got that before you really go start looking. I've really been lucky where I've sort of fallen into it. Working here with you, Mark, and that, I'd probably call that luck more than anything, but reaching out and asking people if you are unsure.
Surround yourself with people that are going to help you and sort of almost push you along, kick you along. Because I was pretty nervous tonight. You were talking about making an offer on a property, and you froze up.
And then, I'll hold this line against you, Mark. You know what you said, for everyone that's watching: if you don't buy it, I will. I mean, talk about pushing you along. We're getting closer.
So yeah, Billy found a property, and I said, mate, if you don't buy this, I'm going to buy it. So hurry up and to kick you along. I thought you were going to use the balls statement that I said to you as well. So I'm glad you didn't use that.
No.
You got to have big balls to be a first home buyer. Certainly respect that for someone who's never done. We forget because when we're in our homes that we bought a long time ago, the stresses, the trials and tribulations that one goes through, like yourself, it's pretty bloody stressful. Now, guys, before we wrap up, in summary, what do we discuss tonight? What are the takeaways and the nuggets that we can give people? To start off, we're rolling very quickly to the end of 2021. We are rolling very quickly to the end of the COVID lockdowns. Properties are increasing. What are the takeaways?
Sam?
Get in now before it's too late. Simple one-liner. Full stop.
Too late. If it's not too late, you're gonna pay for it.
Exactly.
There's properties to buy, to rent. There might not be many, but you're gonna be in with the crowd, paying the premium. So another good piece of advice that I got tonight from Branko, our head of property management, was when you're looking to buy, even more so, there's never going to be perfect timing, but timing is something that You've just got to do it. If you found the perfect time, the perfect property won't be there. And if you found the perfect property, the perfect time is not going to be there. So you've just got to do it.
I've got a great saying for that. It's not timing, timing, in property. It's time in, time space in, time in. So it sort of doesn't matter whether you're buying a high or low. It's just staying. His property ownership is just staying in there for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years as a property owner. That's where the money's made, not when you buy, how high, how low, or what you buy. It's just keeping your money locked into that property.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
And any other takeaways? I think the leases, the landlords was important. Landlords, if you're doing a lease, make sure your lease is going to mature in summer. That means you may have to do a shorter or a longer lease. I think another message out to prospective tenants out there, now you have a good selection of property. You can expect to have half of the selection of property out there when you come into summer and when lockdown finishes, and you will be paying more and you will have less selection. So do it now while summer hasn't hit.
And just your
Amen.
lead time as well. Your lead times.
Your lead, what was that about lead times?
Just keep them in the back of your head. Don't let it get away from you. If you're thinking about a move or a buy or a sell, make sure you're accounting for the people that you're appealing to.
Live your best life, and if you want to do it now. Live your best life. Just get it done. You know, whether you're renting it, whether you're buying it, it's a very good window the next 2 to 4 weeks. And a message out to buyers out there, guys. More property is definitely hitting the market. We can feel it. And the message to sellers out there before we go, in summary, the nugget, get it on right now before the stock drops, because there's going to be a lot of stock dropping. A lot of properties coming on the market for sale.
Yeah. Are you going to sing Should I Stay or Should I Go Now, Mark, as the outro?
Yep.
Beautiful. All right. Hang on.
Can we sing it together on the way out?
No, it's you. Ready?
Should I stay or should I go now?
Have a good evening, guys.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Take care.